Android permissions. In this topic, we will discuss Android permissions. Primarily, these permissions protect an Android system and, more importantly, user privacy. The Android system runs each application in a sandbox with limited access. If any application wants to use resources or information outside the sandbox, then the application needs to ask for relevant permissions. Before Android 4.0, all permissions were set at installation time and could not be changed until reinstallation. However, in the newer Android versions, permissions are asked at installation time. In order to grant permissions, they should be declared in the Android manifest file. The system will execute it and decide whether the permission should be granted or denied to the Android application sandbox. To give you a context, let's look at what application sandbox is. The application sandbox in Android is a security mechanism that isolates each app's data and code from the application sandbox in Android is a security mechanism that isolates each app's data and code from other apps and operating system. This means that apps can only access their data and files and interact with other applications or the system through well-defined and secure channels. For example, downloading a banking app on your Android device will run in a sandbox environment. It can only access the data and files needed to perform banking functions, such as your account information and transaction history. It cannot access data or files from other apps on your device, such as your social media or email apps. Types of permissions. Depending on the type of permissions an application can request, the system may grant the permission automatically or ask the user to grant the permissions. There are two types of permissions, normal and dangerous. Normal permissions do not have a direct risk to user privacy. So the system now grants these permissions automatically. For example, the permissions for a flashlight. Dangerous permissions can give access to the user's confidential data. So the user has to approve the permission for your application explicitly. For example, reading or writing a contact. If your application needs dangerous permissions, you must check whether the application requires them to operate. The user is allowed to deny such permissions. For example, a music player that does not need the permission to view the calendar. The user is always free to deny permissions, so even if the app used the calendar the day before, it could not be assumed that it still has permission to